Hello and welcome to Technically Analytics. Today we're going to be going over some off-season moves of a few different teams. Just kind of quickly, just to review the off-season because I haven't done much off-season video stuff. So yeah, we're going to start with the Los Angeles Dodgers. Probably the most significant team this off-season outside of a few other teams, but they've definitely done the most moves. People have been talking about the Dodgers and their spending, their deferred payments, which is not against the rules, but it's not like necessarily, people don't think it's kosher. But let's see who they've added so far this offseason. Everyone says, oh, they've been adding lots of people, but like, have they really been adding a lot of people? Yeah, kind of. So we'll start with the lineup. This is their lineup as it stands currently. Again, they re-signed Teoscar Hernandez. And they obviously signed Michael Conforto from the Giants. I like Conforto. He's a former Met. Pretty good hitter usually. He has a 1 year, $17 million deal with the Dodgers. So, pretty good. He's gonna hit basically, and he's gonna play the field pretty good. Really good defense for Conforto. Whoops. Didn't mean to do that. And then, so going back here, we're gonna do. They also signed Ha-Seong Kim to play second base. So he's gonna be a good addition from the KBO. We'll see what he does. He was good in the KBO. We'll see if he's good he's obviously gonna be good with the Dodgers. I mean, you can see his stats from the KBO here. Not bad. I mean, the guy doesn't strike out much, so just another guy in their lineup, right? And then, of course, the big moves were made in the pitching department, right? In the rotation and the bullpen. They signed Blake Snell, former Cy Young winner, from the Giants. Pretty big deal. Blake Snell, he's obviously always been good. 5 years, $182 million, $31 million AAV. He has some options. Guy won a Cy Young a few years ago, so obviously a really good pitcher to sign. This is why people are mad, obviously, but I mean, you can't really blame him. And then, of course, they signed Roki Saki from Japan. He's gonna be. I mean, we'll see if he's gonna be good. I don't know that he'll be like, the most. I don't know if he's gonna be Yamamoto, Otani, or Senga, but like, I mean, I watched him pitch in the World Baseball Classic, and he was pretty good. So I'm not too worried about him. I mean, obviously they have one of the best rotations in the league. You can see here they have Glasnow still, they have Gonsolin, they still have Yamamoto, Dustin May. I mean, one of the better six-man rotations you'll ever see. And then, of course, they signed Tanner Scott recently, just like a week ago or so, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago. 4 years, $72 million, $17 million AAV. You can see his stats here. He's gonna get people out. He's been pretty lights out most of the time. I mean, obviously he struggled a little bit in 2021, 2022, but he's really found it since then. The guy he just gets people out, and you can see the FIP when he's on his stuff. His FIP is really good, meaning he's getting those strikeouts. His K percentage is pretty high. He has a pretty low BABIP, which means he's not really allowing hitters or guys to get on. So really good signing, great closer for the Dodgers. Then we have Kirby Yates. He was signed from Texas. I mean, solid reliever. I don't know. It's not their biggest, flashiest signing, but definitely one of a good signing still. And yeah, that's the Dodgers. So we'll move on to the next team, which is going to be my New York Mets. So the Mets, they've had one of the better off seasons, I would say, too. Maybe the perfect off season now, because just yesterday, actually, and this timing is incredible. They re-signed Pete Alonso, 2-year deal, with some opt-outs and a club option or something. And then, of course, they signed Juan Soto, 15 years, $780 million. And they signed Jose Siri. This was like really early in the offseason in November. One of the first signings, I think, of the offseason. And this is their lineup. I love it. They re-signed Jesse Winker, which I'm a fan of. Pitching wise, they got Frankie Montas and Clay Holmes. Both of those guys I like. Both former Yankees for some reason. I don't know why we are obsessed with those kind of guys, but I mean, solid rotation. Hopefully Montas will be better than he was last year because he was pretty average. Clay Holmes, he's going to be a starter. He used to be a relief pitcher or like a closer for the Yankees, so we'll see how he does in the starter role. And then, of course, we have the bullpen. AJ Minter, former Brave. I like him. He's been a dude for a long time. I think we can't go wrong signing this guy. I mean, look at this. Look at his ERA the past few years. Like, the one season he was bad, but every other season he's been a 4 or below. He just gets guys out. So I do like the signing. Griffin Canning, I mean, hopefully the Mets pitching workshop will fix him and he'll be good, you know? So that's the Mets. I'm not going to go too much on about them. And then we're going to go on to Oakland. Where is Oakland? Oh, they changed their logo because it's not Oakland. It's actually the Athletics. Just the Athletics now. They dropped Oakland. So we have Oakland. Now, Oakland surprisingly had a pretty good offseason. Like, surprisingly. They signed Gio Urshela to play third base for them. Okay, I like it. And then, of course, they signed this guy, their backup catcher, Johnny Peretta. And they signed, the biggest surprising signings were the pitching, actually. Luis Severino and Jeffrey Springs, both, they traded for Springs and they signed Severino. Biggest deal in team history by about $1 million. 3 years, $67 million. And their biggest deal before that was like 3 years, $66 million or something, or 5 years, $66 million to Eric Chavez. So it's quite a big deal. The Athletics are finally, showing some signs of life in the offseason. They haven't done for 5 years or something. And then they signed Jose Leclerc, and Noah Murdoch. Well, Rule 5, they drafted him. But they signed Jose Leclerc in their bullpen, so their bullpen is looking pretty nice. Mason Miller. I do like the back end. I mean, we'll see what the front gives them, but Oakland's been surprisingly active, so I really do actually like what they've done with the offseason. I don't know why this is glitched. That's so weird, this prospect thing. But anyway, the next team we're going to go on to is the Royals. The Royals surprisingly active as well. They traded for Jonathan India in the beginning of the offseason in November. This was an interesting swap. And then they, it was interesting. I mean, I do like India as a player. I think he's been a little disappointing. He was a little disappointing in the Reds because he just never hit all that well. And his hitting has gotten worse over time. You can see here his slugging has just gotten worse and worse. And his on base is kind of the same, but it's just he's not been consistent. So it was an interesting trade. And then they also, they signed Carlos Estevez recently, or last month. I do love this signing. Their bullpen's pretty good. Only Chris Stratton is the one sore spot for them, I guess. He needs to pitch better, but overall though, I like their starting pitching lineup or rotation, and I like their lineup overall. I mean, with India as the leadoff, I think it's going to be pretty good team. They're a pretty good team. I mean, they did okay last year, 86 and 8 and 76. So I would almost expect them to improve, actually. And the next team, we have the Padres. Now, I picked the Padres not because they made any interesting offseason moves, but because they didn't really make any moves. The only person they signed is Elias Diaz, and I think he's with AAA. He's not even on here, but they did sign him. You can see right here, Elias Diaz, and they did agree to some arbitration contracts, but they didn't do anything significant. And I think it's because of the ownership feud that's going on there. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, it's pretty. They lost a bunch of players. So it's interesting that they didn't sign anybody. Like, you'd think with the Dodgers going after everybody and the Giants and all that, like, you think they would like be more active, but they've not done much. Oh, there is Diaz is right there. He just wasn't highlighted for some reason, but anyway. Next we have the New York Yankees. So the Yankees had an interesting offseason. They lost Juan Soto to the Mets. Obviously that kind of hurt. So they pivoted, which, they were always going to do. They signed Paul Goldschmidt, Cody Bellinger, good signings, former MVPs. Goldschmidt, when he's a Hall of Famer already, but like when he is in his prime, when he's hitting the ball well, he's one of the best hitters in the game, home run hitters. And Cody Bellinger is the same way. Guy's one of the best hitters in the game when he's on. Again, former MVPs, so you gotta love these signings if you're a Yankees fan. And then, of course, they signed Max Fried from the Atlanta Braves. Really good signing. Fried's been good his whole career. Like, the only thing with Fried is that he can be prone to injuries, but just look at his ERA throughout his career. Like, he doesn't really miss like that often. Like 2019, sure, but that's like an aberration basically. So really good stuff from the Yankees. They really pivoted well, and then in their bullpen they have Devin Williams and Fernando Cruz. Both Williams obviously one of the best closers in the game. Top 10 closer, top 5 even closer, I would say. And then Fernando Cruz, a solid relief pitcher, probably underrated. So yeah, I do like how the Yankees pivoted. I don't know if it's gonna be better than Juan Soto necessarily, but it's definitely gonna be good enough. I think they're gonna still be in the playoff race. They're still gonna maybe win the division. We'll see. So next team we're gonna do. The Yankees rivaled the Toronto Blue Jays. The Blue Jays have had an interesting offseason, kind of linked to a lot of big free agents. Not necessarily signing all those free agents, but they're linked to them. So, of course, recently they signed Anthony Santander, really good hitter. Pretty solid outfielder. I like the signing overall. They traded for Andres Jimenez, which he's, Gold Glove second baseman, really good fielder. Hitting wise, there's something to be desired there, I think. But he's gonna solidify their infield defense, along with Bo Bichette and who's their third baseman, Ernie Clement. And then in the pitching department, they got Max Scherzer as a starting pitcher. Scherzer and Bassett back together in the same rotation. Last time they were together was actually in 2022. And it was, the Mets were pretty good that year, so it's a good combo. I do, as a Mets fan, I do kind of like that combo, and I think their pitching rotation is actually pretty good. I think Berrios and Bassett and all these guys will go back to the mean probably. Like they had kind of a bad year, but I think they're gonna go back. They're gonna swing back towards like being decent. And then in their bullpen, they signed Jeff Hoffman as a closer. They signed Yimi Garcia and Nick Sandin. You can see their ERAs here. Pretty solid signings. Not bad. Like, Hoffman's obviously the biggest get there. Good closing pitcher. They have Chad Green as a setup man. I do like that. So yeah, and they have injured Darton Valsho. Like, Darton Valsho is one of the better fielders in the league, and I think when he comes back in the lineup, that'll be good, because like he would hit like probably 4th or like 5th, maybe even like 3rd if he was in the lineup. So yeah, I do like the Blue Jays moves. I think it was overall pretty good. Like I feel like they wanted to do more with their lineup. And of course they have Guerrero, who they need to re-sign eventually, but A lot of speculation around him. Not going to talk about it in this video, but it is interesting. And then we're going to go on to the Chicago Cubs, who were pretty active this offseason. They signed a few players. So first of all, they traded for Kyle Tucker from the Astros, which was a huge trade for them. I do like this addition to their lineup. They already were a pretty good team. You can see from last year, they already went 83 and 79. I think Tucker definitely makes the lineup a lot better. And then they got Carson Kelly, Gage Workman for Rule 5, John Birdie on their bench, solid bench. And then in their starting rotation, they have Matthew Boyd and Colin Ray. I mean, good 4 and 5 starters, 6 starters. I don't hate it. We'll see how that works out. See if they can, Boyd's pretty good. Ray, And then in their bullpen, they traded for Ryan Presley from the Astros. I don't know why they're just trading for former Astros, but Presley is going to be a great closer for them, obviously. I do like their starting rotation, their bullpen. It was actually pretty good last year, so this can only make it better. So I think they're only going to improve, definitely, if, Ryan Brazier coming over from the Dodgers in a trade, Caleb Thielbar. I mean, I don't know much about Thielbar, but he looks like he's pretty decent, just looking at these stats right here. So, yeah, I mean, that's the Cubs. And then the last team we're going to go over is the Cincinnati Reds. So the Reds, again, they traded India to the Royals, right? And then they went and traded for Gavin Lux, which was a pretty weird trade, if I say so myself. I mean, I don't know if they listed here what he was traded for, but yeah, they traded for him. They didn't list what he's traded for. But yeah, Gavin Lux, pretty good defense. The weird thing about India and Lux is that they're pretty similar in terms of hitting and fielding. They're similar players. They have similar WAR. If you look on Baseball Reference, it's 7 WAR each. So it's pretty interesting that they traded India to the Royals and they traded for Lux for it was a relief pitcher or something. And then and so they basically just swapped India for Lux with a relief pitcher, I guess. I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see if Lux turns out better than India is, but yeah, we'll see. And then they got Austin Hayes from the Phillies, which I like the signing. Pretty solid outfielder. Not amazing hitting. They signed Jose Trevino from the Yankees. I do like that as a backup catcher behind Tyler Stevenson. And then in the rotation, they signed Brady Singer from the Royals. Or no, he was traded from the Royals. Okay, that must have been in the India trade, I'm guessing. So Singer, obviously, great starting pitcher. I do love this move. Makes the rotation pretty solid with Hunter Green, Nick Martinez, Nick Lodolo, Andrew Abbott. I mean, he wasn't that good last year, but he solidifies the rotation for sure. And of course, they traded for Taylor Rogers from the Giants. Great set of Manta for Alex Diaz. Their bullpen's definitely going to need to be a lot better this coming season if they want to improve their record and maybe get to 500. I don't know if these trades are enough to do it, but it definitely shows that they're trying to improve. So yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching. Make sure to tune in next time. Sometime in end of March, I'll have my season predictions coming, and I'll be doing a live stream where I do a live predictions of every team, predict their record, where they are in the standings, and all that stuff. So make sure to tune in for that, and make sure to like and subscribe.